From hiding famous celebrities to using a drawing to predict the future, these are the craziest Easter eggs in One Piece. And starting off with the craziest, I bet you never realized that One Piece's creator Oda snuck himself into the show, writing his name on the bottom of this mirror. And that's not the only time he did this, because while Nami is looking through a bookshelf in another episode, you can see this book with Oda's full name on it. But this Easter egg is nothing compared to Luffy's drawing skills that can predict the future. See, in chapter 69, Luffy tried to draw a mermaid, but instead created this scary monster. And while it looks nothing like a mermaid, a specific scene in the manga blew fans' minds. Because when Luffy visited the home of mermaids, one of them is identical to his crappy drawing. I think Luffy might be smarter than we think, but he definitely still acts like a child, and that's why his next Easter egg is just gross. You see, in a random manga panel, Luffy is in the background picking his nose. Then, when you turn a few pages, the booger disappears from his finger and lands on Usopp's arm. Usopp is known for lying, but it turns out his lies have the secret power of predicting the future. Like he once lied about visiting an island of dwarves, only to accidentally discover it years later. Or one time before he became a pirate, he lied and said he had a 30 million berry bounty, and when he actually received a bounty, it was exactly that number. But Usopp's biggest lie of all was that he has an army of 1,000 soldiers. And it took a while, but after 700 episodes and about 15 years later, Usopp fulfilled his foreshadowing and recruited over 10,000 people into his fleet. This man's is a prophet, but even he couldn't predict this next Easter egg. See, when Luffy told everyone where he was going to sail to next, he pointed up at the sky. Nobody realized it, but this was a massive Easter egg, referencing Goldie Roger, the Pirate King. Because about 800 episodes later, One Piece showed Roger doing the same thing, pointing up at the sky for his next adventure. Most people never spotted this detail because 20 years went by between the two scenes. That's iconic. And this next Easter egg is more iconic because One Piece snuck Naruto into their manga. See, back in 2014, when Naruto's last chapter was coming out, Oda decided to pay his respects by sneaking in a huge Easter egg on this manga panel. You can see Luffy eating Naruto's favorite food, while across the table, Naruto is eating Luffy's meat, but to keep this Easter egg sneaky, Naruto is hidden behind Nami. Now, when Kishimoto heard about this Easter egg, he had to return the favor. So, in his final chapter, he had Naruto's son vandalize a mountain, and hidden on the forehead, you can see Luffy's Straw Hat logo. But listen, One Piece is so big that it even hides Easter eggs in real life. Like, we all know this is Sanji's favorite lighter, but most people don't know that it was recreated in real life by a luxury brand called DuPont. What's crazier is that the lighter sold out instantly, even though it cost $2,000. Who the heck is buying these things? When it comes to Easter eggs, some of the best are hidden in One Piece's video game. Like, the video game took one of the most important One Piece books and hid it on the edge of the map, meaning that 99% of players have never found it. But that's not even the coolest Easter egg, since I found this place right here. It looks like a normal scene at first, until you realize that it's a straight copy of a manga cover. The attention to detail is crazy. Did you know the names of the Straw Hats have hidden meanings? Take Usopp, for example. The Uso in his name is Japanese for lie, and the second part of his name comes from Aesop, a famous Greek storyteller. Yeah, he has the perfect name. And so does Nami, since her name means wave, which is pretty fitting for a navigator. But out of all the Straw Hats, Zoro's name has the coolest meaning. See, his surname Roronoa is the Japanese pronunciation of the real-life French pirate Francois L'Olonnais, making him the only Straw Hat who's named after a real-life pirate. That's epic. And if you thought that only the Straw Hats had secret meanings, you'd be dead wrong, because the name of two other pirates also have secret meanings. See, Whitebeard's full name is Edward Newgate, while Blackbeard's is Marshall D. Teach. Alone, these names are nothing special. But if you take Whitebeard's first name and Blackbeard's last name, you get Edward Teach, which is the real-life Blackbeard's name. I guess that's why Oda decided to make these guys the strongest characters in One Piece, since they're named after the most legendary pirate in real life. Now, in One Piece, you can't just look at character names, because sometimes the Easter eggs are hidden in character designs. See, every single Marine Admiral's design is based on famous Japanese actors, and when you put them side by side, they look pretty identical. If One Piece wasn't such a respected series, they might have a bad lawsuit on their hands. But one of the more hidden Easter eggs is about this villain named Enel. That's right, this weirdo is actually based on a real person, a guy who's one of the most famous rappers of all time, Eminem. Oda himself has admitted that he's a huge Eminem fan, and Enel was introduced in 2002 when Eminem was at his peak popularity. He really went from the rap god to the god of Skypiea. One Piece takes tons of inspiration from the real world, and you can see that in all the amazing islands shown in the series. Take the island Water 7, for example. It's modeled after Venice, Italy, and not just with the design. You see, Water 7 has this thing called Agua Laguna, where the water levels rise dangerously, covering up the entire island. And this is based on something that actually happens in Venice. Of course, it's exaggerated like crazy, since in real life, it's not as chaotic, and the water only rises slightly. However, Water 7 is just one of many One Piece islands based on real-life locations. Like Dressrosa, a One Piece island, even steals Spain's history. This place is ruled by Don Quixote do Flamingo, who's named after the famous Spanish book, Don Quixote. But the craziest example of this Easter egg is with the prison Impel Down, which is based on California's famous Alcatraz prison island. Yeah, Oda really loves sneaking real-world Easter eggs into his series, but he also started sneaking in Pokemon too. Like in one episode, a field of animals is shown, and several of them look exactly like a Pokemon called Swinub. So One Piece has referenced Pokemon and Naruto, but did you know that One Piece is always getting referenced in famous media? One time, DC Comics released a comic called Aqualad, and the creators decided that they had to make some Easter eggs that reference One Piece. So they invited most of the Straw Hats to show up in the comics. You can see Usopp, Robin, and Nami. This one is so obvious it's not an Easter egg, it's a cameo. And if we're talking celebrity cameos, we gotta talk about the time Simon and Garfunkel, one of the most famous pop bands, made a cameo in One Piece. You see, way back in episode 32, a guy named Gaiman was introduced. This dude was only in one episode and everyone forgot about him, except for Oda, cause decades later, he introduced Gaiman's friend Sarfunkel, creating Gaiman and Sarfunkel, the ultimate duo. Oda really created an entire second character just for the meme. You gotta respect it. Now I can guarantee you didn't know that Luffy's entire character is an Easter egg. Oda revealed in an interview that Luffy is actually based on Goku, and Goku is based on the Monkey King, the main character from a very old and very famous Japanese book. And that's why Luffy's last name is Monkey. But these two characters have one more thing in common, because Oda and Akira Toriyama collaborated on a manga where we got to see these two iconic characters hang out with each other. It's called Cross Epic, a special manga chapter featuring the characters of Dragon Ball and One Piece having a party. This crossover has one super important panel that most people completely ignore. Luffy jumps onto the flying Nimbus, something that only people who are pure of heart can do, meaning that even though Luffy is a pirate, he's still an extremely good person. Now let's talk about the crazy amount of Easter egg characters in One Piece. You heard that right. This series has enough of these background characters to create an entire show around them. First, we have this drunk guy named Sam who only lives to party. In fact, he literally travels from island to island partying. Anytime there's a huge crowd, there's a good chance that Sam's there. Then there's the photographer, Attach, who takes the pictures for wanted posters. This dude started off as a gag, but was officially introduced into the show later on. And you can't forget about Minatomo, the guy who can't walk past a door without fixing it. Later on, we meet his cousin, who's also named Minatomo, and looks exactly the same. The craziest One Piece Easter eggs aren't just in the anime or the manga. Some of the best are hidden in video games. Way back in 1999, Buggy the Clown's 3 claws cut through Luffy's hat. And if you fast forward 24 years in real life, the video game called One Piece Odyssey showed those 3 claw marks very faintly on Luffy's hat. Now that's attention to detail. But I just have to talk about the One Piece Easter egg. I'm talking about Panda Man, the joke character who appears literally everywhere. He's seen on almost every island in the entire One Piece world. He even appeared in Impel Down, the inescapable prison. Later on Amazon Lily, the island with only women, fans thought they would be safe from Panda Man, until Panda Woman showed up in his place. It's literally impossible to escape the panda. And there's actually a reason that you see Panda Man everywhere. It turns out he owes a debt to Tomato Gang that he can't afford to pay. So Tomato Gang hired Unforgivable Mask, Panda Man's lifelong rival, to chase down his target. Because of that, Panda Man is always on the run, and he's never in the same place for too long. And to this day, Panda Man is on the run for his life and his wallet. Yeah, One Piece is full of Easter eggs, but it's also full of sad, sad deaths. So click this video to learn about every major death in the show.